Okay, so for your assignment on rate of change, these are the formulas or the facts that you need to know. So first, whenever we refer to the rate of change, we're talking about the change in y divided by the change in x. So it's usually represented as a fraction because you might get 5 up here and 3 down there. So you would say 5/3. If it's in a word problem, it might be dollars per gallon, and so then your answer would be in dollars and cents. The rate of change is also called the slope. So just know if you hear me say slope, it's the same as the rate of change, okay? If you have ordered pairs, then the formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The 1s and 2s just refer to the first point and the second point. That's all. So x1, y1 is the first point, x2, y2 is the second point. And it doesn't matter which point you call the first point and which point you call the second point. Just the difference between the two is y2 minus y1 and then x2 minus x1. Just make sure that if you call this one the second point, the y2 goes first and the x2 goes first. You can't do y2 minus y1 and then do x1 minus x2. Also, make sure you get your y's on top and the x's on the bottom because, like we said, rate of change is the change in y divided by the change in x, okay? You might be asked to tell if a relationship is linear or not. If it is linear, that means if you graph it, it would make a straight line. And then that means the slope or the rate of change between any 2 points is the same. It wouldn't, like if you had 8 different points plotted on a line or in a table, any 2 points you found the rate of change between would give you the same answer. If it's not always the same, so if you can find 2 points that gives you a different rate of change than a different 2 points, then the relation is not linear. And sometimes it's called a non-linear function. Okay, slopes of horizontal and vertical lines. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. The slope of a vertical line is undefined. So a horizontal line would go through or could go through a point like 1, 3 and 4, 3. So if you use your formula, 3 minus 3, this is your y2, this is your y1. 3 minus 3 is 0. 4 minus 1, that's your x2 and your x1. 4 minus 1 is 3. 0 divided by 3 is 0. If you have a vertical line, it could go through the point 4, 2 and 4, 5. So if you use your formula, 5 minus 2 is the change in y, 4 minus 4 is the change in x, 3 divided by 0 is undefined. If you have a hard time remembering or understanding whether 0 divided by 3 is 0 or undefined, put it in your calculator. If you do 0 divided by 3, it will give you an answer of 0. Like if I have 0 cupcakes and I share them with 3 people, everybody gets 0 cupcakes. But if I have 3 cupcakes to divide among 0 people, that doesn't make any sense. So it's undefined, okay? If you type in 3 divided by 0 on your calculator, it will give you an error. So that's how you can tell if you don't remember. Okay, so let me show you what some problems would look like, okay? You could have a table. So x, y, and you could have the x's go 2, 4, 7. And this could be 10, and then this could go to 16. I've got to think about this to make this work. So then this would be 9. So if I want to find the rate of change of this, I could say, well, that goes up 6, and that goes up 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. Whoops, this isn't 9. I don't mean 9. I mean I want it to go up 9. So it would be 25. So if you use your formula, then it would be 16 minus 10, change in y, divided by change in x, 4 minus 2, which is what I did in my head and wrote those little numbers out there. So that gives you 6 over 2. Notice if you do this, okay, if you find it between 25 and 16, that's 9. The difference between 4 and 7 is 3. So if you do 25 minus 16 over 7 minus 4, that gives you 9 divided by 3, which is 3. So the rate of change is 3. If we knew what this represented, like I think in one of your problems, this is like pancakes and cups of flour. Then that would mean I can make 3 pancakes for every cup of flour that I used, okay? They might give you, they just might give you ordered pairs. So let's say they give you 2, 11, and 4, 5, okay? So this is your x1, y1. This is your x2, y2. So your slope or your rate of change is 5 minus 11 over 4 minus 2. 5 minus 11 over 4 minus 2. 5 minus 11 is negative 6. 4 minus 2 is 2. So here I get a negative 3. If you happen to get a negative on the bottom, let's say we've got the point 3, 15. And let's say then this is 20, and this is 1, okay? So if I do 20 minus 15 divided by 1 minus 3, I get 5 on top, and I get a negative 2 on the bottom. I looked at your assignment on McGraw-Hill, and if you type in 5 over negative 2, it will count it wrong. You need to move the negative to the top and say that's negative 2 over 5. Okay, it doesn't like a negative in the denominator. So if you get a negative on the bottom, move it to the top. If you happen to get 2 negatives, like let's say you have 8, 7, and 2, 6, okay, then that would be 6 minus 7 over 2 minus 8. 6 minus 7, 2 minus 8. 6 minus 7 is negative 1. 2 minus 8 is negative 6. 2 negatives make a positive, so you would change this to positive 1/6. Okay, so just make sure you put your negatives on top, and if you have 2 negatives, they cancel out. They could give you a picture of a graph. Oops. So they might say, this is the ordered pair negative 5, negative 2. And they might say this is the ordered pair 4, 6. Okay? So you just have to realize this is like x1, y1. This is x2, y2. So your slope or your rate of change would be 6 minus a negative 2. So we have to deal with negatives here. I have to be careful. 6 minus negative 2, 4 minus negative 5. And so that's 6 plus 2, which is 8. 4 plus 5 is 9. So your answer would be 8, 9. So if they give you a picture, you also can kind of draw a triangle and count. I do that a lot. Make a right triangle, go over and up. If you count this length here, you're going to get 8 because it's going to come from 6 minus a negative 2. And if you count this length, it's going to be 9 because it's going to come from 4 minus a negative 5. So either way, you can use the ordered pairs and do the formula, or you can count how far over and how far up it is. They might give you a table, and they might do x, y sideways, and they might say this is negative 2, 0, 2, 4, 6, and then this might be 8. Let's do 11 and 14 and 17 and 20. Okay, you can tell, they might ask you, is this linear? Is this linear? Well, if it's linear, then the rate of change between all of them are exactly the same. So if we look and see what happens here, from -2 to 0, I go up 2, I go up 2, I go up 2, I go up 2. So my difference between all of them is 2. And here I go up 3, up 3, up 3, up 3. So as long as I'm doing the same with my x's and the same with my y's, then it's linear. It could also be linear if it isn't exactly the same, but the ratio is the same. For instance, it could be x, y, and the points could be 0, 3, 5, 11. And then I could do 7, 10, 12, 18. Okay, so I'm going, oh, that's not a very good example. So I go up 3, I go up 2, I go up 6. I go up 3, I go up 2, I go up 6. So in this case, it's exactly the same. So my ratio here is 3 divided by 3, 2 divided by 2, 6 divided by 6. So the slope is the same. The slope is 1. My change in y is 3, my change in x is 3, so my slope is 1. So this slope is equal to 1. If you would have something like 2, 3, 6, 10, and have, let's say 5, 7, then 13, and then let's say 20 then, okay? So this goes up 1, and this goes up 2. 2 divided by 1 is 2. If I go 7 to 13, that's 6, that's 3. 6 divided by 3 is also 2. So I've got 2 divided by 1 and 6 divided by 3. That's the same ratio. But if I do 13 to 20, that's 7. 6 to 10 is 4. 7 divided by 4 is not the same, so it's not linear. So this one is not linear. Okay, so you might have something like that. I think that is all the information you need to do the assignment. So go ahead and do the assignment on the McGraw-Hill online, and it's called Rate of Change. I will see you in school.